Hello and welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be finishing off, not literally, finishing it off in that sense, but we're going to be finishing off the rejuvenation of this Panasonic RX CT800. So you'll remember from last time that we had a problem with, well, not a problem, but we had a breakage in the tuner scale thing. Well, using some glue, I've managed to glue it back together. If you look carefully, there, you can see where the join is. And if you look in here, I may need just to scrape away some of the excess glue so it doesn't get gummed up on the actual cog itself. So that'll probably be the first thing that I will do. So I don't want to do too much of it because I don't want to actually destroy the bond that the glue has created. So we just want to do enough so that it doesn't get too stuck. And to do that, I'm just going to literally just cut that in a tiny bit, like so. And that should hopefully be enough. And yep, that should be enough actually. That's removed some of the excess glue that was on there, but it hasn't broken the bond between the two halves. So what I will do first is actually get this tuner dial all the way down, as you can see there, to the bottom of its travel. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do was to actually just give this a clean up. So I'm going to use some products that I normally use when I'm cleaning and polishing the cars. To polish, I'm going to use some of this Auto Finesse Tipple 3 all-in-one polish, which does give a very positive result when we use it on the cars. And to clean it, I'm going to use some of that on a nice clean cloth. So spray some of that onto the cloth and just give it a whole wipe over, just to, just sort of restore that factory fresh finish. The other thing that I'm going to do is, if you notice on the front, we have what was once this sort of chrome strip. It's actually cut into, or part of the actual plastic itself. So just to tidy that up a little bit, I was just going to run, I don't know how good it will look, but I was just going to run this silver strip across like so. I might need just to cut a little bit of the strip away, or actually just come about there, should do it. Stick it onto there and we're good. So that does, I don't know, maybe it improves it, I don't know, I'll have a think about it. But it might look better than what's on there at the moment. For that, I'm using literally just sort of car pinstriping. I think the size, this is 6mm, and I think this is actually too big. Ideally, I'd want to go for probably a 4mm pinstripe. So what I might have to do, and what I probably will do, is cut off the relevant amount, lay this down, and then use a straight edge to cut away a couple of mil of this so that it actually goes on a bit better. So we'll just put that to one side for the moment. And I think the first thing we'll do is we'll get the taking apart job out of the way, and that will be to actually get the front off again so we can put that tuner indicator back in place. And to do that, we need to rotate. Need to detach our speakers, just makes life a little bit easier. And if you remember, the speakers come up and release kind of like so. They do eventually anyway. There we go, there's one, and up as the other. So we'll just move those out of the way, and you're left with the little base unit itself. Now, obviously remembering tuner right down at the beginning. And if you remember from last time, the screws which actually have, or rather the holes which actually have removable screws in, are signified by little dots. So there's one there, one there, one in here, and one here. So I'll just find my longest cross-headed screwdriver, which is, I think it was this one actually. And we'll go in. So it does take a couple of attempts to get to it, as you may remember, but once you're locked in place, you can start the unscrewing process. So I'm going to get that sorted out, and you'll rejoin me with the front of the unit off, ready to go. So bear with me, I'll be back shortly. So after the removal of the 5 screws, we're in a position where we can actually get into this unit itself. We can actually get this front out of the way if we just remove the graphic equalizer and volume control, which is this little panel here. That sits quite nicely in there. You can just tuck that out of the way like so. What it means that we can do now, what it enables us to do, is we can turn this around like so. We can take our tuner indicator, as you can see here, and we can pop that back into the mechanism itself. So to do that, I need to just rotate the tuner dial and try and get this around I need to work out how to do it. It might actually be easier if I could pop this out, so there might be a way to gently remove this, but I've got to be honest, I'm not certain that there is. I don't think there is, actually. Correction on that front, I don't think there is. So what I might be able to do is feed it in. If I go, actually, let's have a look at how this would sit. So this is going to sit like that. So if you look at the front of it, there it is there, it's right at the edge of its travel. What will happen is that will pull across, sorry, just get it on camera, like so, with this obviously turning it, and in turn this would also be rotating this large wheel here, which connects directly to the tuner potentiometer on the board. So for this one I'm going to have to just have a look at what level it's running at. It's running above a little sort of moulding here, so we need to go above that, possibly. So if I twist that slightly, although I can't, no I can't, because there is a definite blockage in the way. So what if I go below it? So if I come in below, that's interesting, because there isn't actually any way around that to get it around. So no, because it wouldn't directly act on this one, because this has got to directly act on that one, but this has got to come in somewhere, and I reckon it's going to come in down the bottom here. So if I go in, I can go underneath like that, and that does actually give me this option. So I can put this into here, that clips very fiddly. So this will come into here, like so. This will go under here. No, it won't. It will go there, because that's just how it works. But what this enables me to do is, because I've got this bit past now, I should be able to get a screwdriver in there to fish it around, and then this should actually naturally sit on there. So rather than keep you waiting, I'm going to have a go at that, and I'll let you know how I get on. It would appear that I was wrong. You can, with a little bit of gentle persuasion of this, don't go too far because you don't want to break it, but you can actually get this out. You'll also notice there's a cog on the bottom. That bottom cog will be the one that interfaces with this. This top cog is purely going to be for, obviously, for this piece here. But what this means now is we can actually put this to the full extent of its travel, where it will sit quite nicely on these ramps below it. So that will go there, probably slot into there quite nicely as well. And I can then take this, and then that should slot back in. So, oh, that's really annoying. I've literally just broken that off. Oh goodness, I'm going to have to re-glue that. You will rejoin me shortly once I've re-glued that, but it just shows you how fiddly and fragile this is, that the smallest of movements can actually undo all of your hard work. So let's have a look there. That's okay, we'll re-glue that because it did seem to hold up pretty well. And I'll get this threaded in and you'll rejoin me shortly. So it's taken a while, but I've managed to get it in there. I've given it a little bit of a grease up, and it does work, but it's a bit sticky at that point because it's obviously slightly misshapen. And yeah, a little bit sticky there, makes a horrible clicking noise, which does make me wonder if it's just going to break again at some point. It probably will, but you know, I've done the best that I can. The only real remedy is to actually get a completely new piece, but I don't know if you can still get those. It'll be interesting to see and find out. On the front side, I have fitted the car trim strip, which it looks okay. It's not too bad, I suppose. It's not great, but it's better than how it appeared earlier. So I'm going to put it back together now. So if you remember from last time, these just slot in, and there is I think there is some where they just sort of do nestle, but they do literally just slot in like so, and then you can push the front into position like so. Just put it up like that, and then at the bottom you've got these two clips which go that, and there you go, that's it, put that together. As you can see, a nice tuner adjustment. Actually, that seems to be better. Oh, I think I've just, for goodness sakes, I bet you I've just broken it. That is so annoying. Let's have a look and see if we have. So we'll just get this off. Ow. And yeah, we have, it's right the way inside there. Oh man, I don't think we're going to be able to repair that, you know. So what I'm going to do is just get this out. come? There it is. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do anything with that. So the best thing to do in that instance is just to pop this out completely. So pop that all the way back there, grab that, and there we are. That can come out, and we'll have a look at some other ways to do that another day, but for now I'm just going to put this back together and continue with the cleanup. So I will just put this in. So we'll go in like so, and down at the bottom. Right, now to put it back together. Right, I won't bore you with the putting it back together because it is just a case of putting the screws back in, and I will see you once it's back in one piece. Right, let's carry on with the resurrect or the cleaning up. Yes, I'm having another go at that. Now, I found on my table that I actually had a leg from one of the capacitors that I replaced on the Panasonic NV7200 project. So what I've decided to do is use that leg as like a splice and then just sort of glue the two halves together. So I'm hoping that will add a bit of strength to it. So I'm just going to leave that over there to dry. And in the meantime, I'm going to use some of this polish to give this a bit of a once over. Don't want to go too mad with it, but just enough to give it a slightly fresher appearance, which seems to be working quite well actually. It's actually doing a nice job. Incidentally, I haven't actually screwed this together yet because I suddenly thought, do you know what, I'm going to have another go with that tuner indicator. And I'd be interested to see if the fix actually holds. Anyway, because this is actually in reasonable condition to start with, there isn't actually much I need to do to bring that back. So I'm going to pop that out of the way now. That can stay there and continue drying. And I'm going to bring this speaker into the equation. So you can see here there's a little bit of rust on the front. So nothing too special. I'm going to quite literally sand away the rust. So you are left with bare unpainted grille. There is still a little bit of rust on there, so that should do the job. There we go. So that's that, free from rust. Well, mostly free from rust. There is still a little bit left on there, but because it's going to be living indoors, it shouldn't really affect it too much unless you're in a very high moisture environment. Now I have that, which is a little tray. This, which is obviously a paintbrush. And I have some, that's primer. I also have some satin black finish. So bear with me whilst I shake this up. So I'm going to tilt this up this way and carefully spray in some of this satin black finish. So I don't want it to go everywhere. You can see it's already spilling onto the table. Now I've got a little pool of it in here. thankfully that does go away quite quickly. What this enables me to do, just get a bit of it onto a brush. And work some of it onto the grill itself, as you can see as I'm doing here. Now, because it has this sort of chrome finish behind it, you don't want to get too much on there because you'll affect the nice chrome finish. So you just want enough on there to just cover where you've been working. Now, one of the issues I think is it does seem to be going straight through the holes. Not really going anywhere. It might actually be getting trapped in this brush, to be honest with you. Hopefully once I get this brush loaded with a bit more of this, it should start to stick onto there. Spraying directly onto the brush helps as well, funnily enough. There we go. Ooh. There we are, and just leave that there. What I'll need to do once it's dry, I might actually be able to do this. If you literally blow on it a little bit, that does actually get rid of the bubbling effect that you tend to get, and that has sorted that out. Now this one, the other speaker, we don't actually have the same issues, it was just this one that we had the problem with. So that's all we need to do with that one. That can now dry, so we can put that out the way somewhere to dry. And we can go back to putting the other one, putting the main unit back together. But that seems to have worked, rather pleased. Anyway, let's get this main unit back together and you'll rejoin me shortly. So after a little bit of work and a little bit of time between the first part of this video and the part that we're on now, we now have something that looks like this. And it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It's actually come up really well. As you can see, the repair I did over there is almost invisible unless you look very close. You can't see the little localized area of rust anymore, which is good. This I'm not too sure about. I've left it in here for a good couple of hours or so, and I'm not convinced how well it will last, if it will even last at all. But it is, as you can see, it does seem to be going backwards, well, certainly going forwards and kind of backwards. But again, how well that will last, I don't know. Ideally, it really needs a new part, but you know, unless you have one of these for spares or another one of a similar sort of vintage for spares, I don't think there's really too much I can do about that. It is that phrase, it is what it is, unfortunately. The strip that I've put on there actually doesn't look too bad. It sort of brings it together and does look a bit better than just having the scratched off chrome effect. I think it looks okay, in all fairness. I've given it a bit of a clean all over in general, so everything has been cleaned up. So I've cleaned all the inside tape trays, I've lubricated the tape mechanism as well on the cog side anyway, And I think the best thing to do now is to actually give it a test drive, see how she works. So I've got a figure of 8 cable plug here, which I'll just plug in over there, and then bring it round to the back of the deck. So that will be wherever it goes. I've completely, yeah, that side, there it is. So that's currently plugged in. Let's make sure volume is down, balance is there. Let's just put the volume up a touch. So radio, we certainly have something, although graphic equalizer is all off at the moment, so let's just there we go. And let's put it on to FM. Let's just tune it into something that won't get copyright hit.
Much more ancient philosophical thought piece is that of the ship of Theseus, which is
Radio 4 is fine.
Experiment in terms of, like, if you change a ship beam by beam over a period of
there we
time,
go. So that's Radio 4 in stereo.
Completely changed. And then we come to the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz, and he is a similar creature in terms of, you know, he is, you know, if bits fall off him, then he takes bits that he finds along the way and such like that. So they're all composites.
You've absolutely got the you put the components together very well.
Yeah, it's working rather well. So left.
That famous thought experiment
right
about identity is the ship
centre.
The same shape.
That's actually worked
even if
quite nicely. So I'm going to grab
changed.
my
You're not quite there with the Tin Man.
test
But
cassette,
if you apply the same principle,
and we'll test both decks now. So we'll switch it to tape mode, and we will pop this in on side 1 and hit play. So certainly that one is rotating okay, that's always good. Give it a couple of moments. So seems to be working all right. Let's check fast forward.
In the adjoining vale of Blackmore, the pair of legs. Tess of the Derby.
So that one's working well. Let's try this deck.
By Thomas Hardy. Wandering tune. Good night, Tate, said the man. Good night, Sir John.
Yeah, not working badly at all,
A
actually.
pedestrian.
Rather happy with that.
Face or two.
Pause obviously works. Fast forward works. Rewind also works as well. That's interesting. So auto stop doesn't work on that one, but it does work on that one. So I'm not going to begrudge it for not working on one of the decks. Actually, I will see if it works on this one. If I do rewind. Yeah, so it only seems to work if there's no tape in there, so it probably is something that's worn out over the time. But that is working rather nicely. If we put it onto audio, so radio again.
Well, he's young, he's young.
Working nicely. And it looks pretty darn presentable as well, actually. So that rounds off quite nicely this mini project to obviously just sort of clean up this particular deck, and I think we have achieved everything that we want to achieve. We've managed to get that indicator working, kind of. Obviously not perfect, but it is indicating, and it is allowing me to go up the wave band and then back down again. Far from perfect, but what you're going to do, it's 30 years old, if not slightly older. Actually, I think it's a 1991 deck, so yeah, it would be 30 years old. These weren't designed to be around now, to be perfectly honest with you. They were not designed to last for 30 years. So the very fact that it's here is a testament to the initial build quality. And to be honest, for a cheaper deck, not a bad little system. I would have quite happily have entertained that when I was younger. Anyway, if you have found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.